Hey everyone, it's Gillen here, and today I'm finally making good on my promise to make that breeding guide as a video format. So a lot of you probably are familiar with my text-heavy guide, and it is a wall of text, and I realize that a lot of people just have a really hard time going through that and really understanding how breeding works in this game. So I'm making this video guide. It's going to be split up between multiple videos. This first video is going to be the complete basics of breeding and how to get started breeding in PokeMMO. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing that you need to know about breeding in PokeMMO is obviously where to breed. So right now I'm in the Hoenn region with the Emerald ROM, and it is just to the west of Mauville City, and it looks like this. So when you're breeding, you want to be talking to this old man. You don't want to talk to this old lady. She doesn't do anything with breeding anymore. So just remember that. She's only good for putting your Pokemon in the daycare to level. This guy is who you want to talk to if you actually want to get an egg out of it. And then if we go over the Kanto, I'll show you where the breeding location is there, where the daycare is. So let's go ahead and hop on over there. So breeding in PokeMMO is very different than the original handheld games. So that's why it's actually useful, I think, to make this video guide. So where did I go in Kanto? I went to 4 Island. So you actually have to basically beat the game to get here, because you have to have access to the Sevi Islands. And it's just on 4 Island. This is the old man that you talk to breed your Pokemon. And again, you have the old lady in here, who you don't need to talk to for breeding. So the next thing that you need to know about breeding is that when you throw 2 Pokemon into the daycare to breed, you're only going to get 1 Pokemon back. You're only going to get 1 egg out of it. So it's a 2-for-1 trade. And I'll show you, he basically, he says that if you saw, I'll show you again. He says you won't get these Pokemon back. I'll keep 2 of your Pokemon, and in return I will give you an egg. It is only 1 egg. You don't get any more eggs, and you don't get any less eggs. So it's only 1 egg. So you say yes. He just confirms that you're okay with them trading away. And I'm gonna show this with Zangooses, or Zangeese, I guess is the proper way to say that. And this is the screen that you're presented with when you are breeding Pokemon. This is actually really useful. It shows you a lot, and is very intuitive, I think. So let's go ahead and I'll look at both of my Zangeese. And you'll see that one is male, one is female. The only time that the male-female rule is overwritten is when you're breeding with Dittos. Dittos can breed with any Pokemon other than itself. So that's something important to know. And so the very first thing about breeding is that you only really want to breed when you're making competitive Pokemon, or you're making a Pokemon for like going to the battle frontier or something like that. Otherwise, there's really no point in the breeding, because it's really just a refinement process in PokeMMO. So you're just trying to make a perfect Pokemon out of it, or something that's useful for winning tournaments and whatnot. So obviously, as a result of that, the most important thing about breeding is IVs. So IVs are these numbers, this tab, like the DNA tab on the Pokemon summary. And if you don't know what IVs are, this kind of gives you a little idea of what they are. It's basically a number between 0 and 31 for each stat. 31 obviously being good and 0 being bad. And each IV corresponds to 1 stat point gain at level 100. So 31 attack here at level 100, that would give plus 31 the attack here. And you can kind of see it's already giving a plus 6, but the full amount of IVs won't be realized until level 100, or sometimes a little bit before that. And then over here, as you can see, 0 attack IV So it's not getting anything from the IVs. So as you can see, it has a lower attack stat, even though it has a attack increasing nature. And if you don't know what natures are, basically it's plus 10%, minus 10%, or a neutral nature, like Sirius, that doesn't do anything. For competitive play, nature is really important. And if you don't know what it is, I highly suggest looking it up and Google searching it to get more information about it. And same goes for IVs. If you still don't understand really what they are, Google search it and look up more information on it, because they are essential for competitive play. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling about that. How do IVs work in breeding? So as you can see, it's giving me ranges. So this middle Pokemon, this middle Zangoose, is the outcome Zangoose. So this is what's going to be given to me if I throw these two Zangoose into the daycare. So as you can see, it's giving me ranges for its IVs. And you can see it's got a 1/4 chance of getting 31, a 1/4 chance of getting 26, and a half chance of getting 28 for its HP IV. So what's happening here? Basically in PokeMMO, IVs can be directly inherited or averaged from the parents. So as you can see, the 25 would be the directly inherited, and the 26 would also be a directly inherited, and then the 28 would be the average. When it averages, it always rounds down. So obviously 26 plus 31 is 57. So half of 57 is 26.5. No, sorry, 28.5. I can do math, trust me. It's 28.5, but it rounds down the 28. It won't round up to 29 ever. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you're ever presented with a scenario where it's 30 and 31, it'll always round down to a 30. So the only time that the offspring would have 31 is if it gets directly inherited from that 31 from the parent. So that's something important, because with competitive Pokemon, even one IV difference can make all the difference. Like, especially for speed. The difference between 30 speed and 31 speed can be a game changer for a Pokemon and make it completely not viable for competitive play. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not universal for all Pokemon, but just keep that in mind, that each IV point really matters. So I said that IVs can be directly inherited or averaged. So 3 IVs are going to be directly inherited, and then 3 are going to be averaged. So I'm going to go ahead and show this to you. I'm going to keep these 2 summary screens up, and I'm going to go ahead and breed these 2 Pokemon, and we'll see what I end up getting out of this. We'll go ahead and wait. I'll go ahead and skip to when the egg is ready, and then I'll hatch it, and we can talk more then. Okay, we're back. So it didn't really take that long at all. I think that was like a minute wait. So you talk to him. It's just time-based. It's nothing to do with steps. So you talk to him and he'll say, "Oh, it's you." So just like the regular games. And he'll tell you, "You have an egg. As promised, it belongs to you. Do you want it?" Yes. So he asked you, would you like a specific gender? So this is more important for when we talk about breeding a perfect Pokemon, which will be in a different video. For now, since we don't really care about the gender in this video, I'm going to go ahead and say no. Or actually, I'm going to go ahead and say yes to show you what you're presented with. So you can choose between male and female, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and choose female. And he tells me it's going to be 5,000 Poke-Yen for the service. So it does cost money to choose the gender of the Pokemon. If you said no, it wouldn't cost any money, and you just leave it up to random chance. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And then he asks you for a Pokeball. So you can choose any Pokeball that you have. I only have Great Balls right now. So if you have like a Dive Ball or like a Repeat Ball or a Premier Ball, something like that, you can use that instead. If you have Master Balls, you can't actually use a Master Ball for this part. Master Balls are kind of given special treatment in PokeMMO, so just keep that in mind. So I get my egg, and then a lot of you would think I have to do this for in on in until it hatches. No, you do not have to run around constantly to hatch the egg. egg hatching in PokeMMO is not step counter based. It is time based. So we just have to wait. We do have to stay active in the game because if you're inactive, the counter won't count down. But as long as you're just here, it's just time based, and we just have to wait for it to hatch. So I'll go ahead and wait until it's hatched, and then we can start talking again. Okay, so we're back. So it finally hatched. It took a little while. It was several minutes for it to hatch, but it wasn't too bad. So let's go ahead and see what we got. So it came out female. It came out with relaxed nature. And let's see its IVs. So let's figure out what happened here. So as we can see, the HP IV, it ended up being the average. So that one was averaged. The attack IV, I got pretty unlucky. It drew the 0 over from the mother. So it directly inherited that 0. The defense IV was averaged. So 10 and 0 averaged the 5. The special attack IV was average. So it was 24 and 0 averaged the 12. So then the last two should be directly inherited, and we can see that they are. So 19 was directly inherited there, and then 0 is directly inherited there. So that was honestly a pretty unlucky breed. I think I got just about the worst scenario, possibly. So that's what happened there. So as you can see, it was 3 that were directly inherited. So this 0, this 19, and this 0. And then 3 that were average. This 28, this 5, and this 12. So that's basically how IV breeding works in PokeMMO. But let me show you. So there's a couple ways, or there's really just like one way that you can manipulate it. So let's go ahead. This was a female, so let's go ahead and pull out a male to breed with it. And if you talk to this lady, and there's also a lady like this in Hoenn that you can talk to, and if you talk to her, she actually sells you items. She sells you these, what we call breeding braces. So if you use these, they'll affect which IVs are directly inherited, basically. And if you can also see that there's an ability pill here. This makes ability breeding completely pointless because this allows you to switch between a Pokemon's ability at will. It only costs 35k, and these braces cost 10k, so they're not too expensive. So I already have some, so we'll go and see how they work. I'm gonna go ahead and message this guy. Sorry, I'm evil. I don't help people. So, oh, I forgot that. Attach them. So, let's go ahead and attach a brace. So, let's look at these Pokemon and let's figure out which IVs I should likely brace. So, I want 31 HP, obviously. So, I'm going to go ahead and throw an HP brace, which is going to be... Oh, that's right. They changed the name. So, but you can see in the description, this one said HP. So, I'm going to give that to this Pokemon. So as you can see, it's now holding that power weight. And then over here, I can't do anything about attack. The offspring is going to have 0 attack. I can't do anything about speed. It's going to have 0 there. So I think the most beneficial one, the brace, would be to brace the special defense over here. So we can go ahead and it's going to be power band. So we're going to give that over here, and then we're going to see what it looks like in the breeding screen. So let's go ahead and talk to him if I can. There we go. Let's say yes, go through all of his dialogue, and then by the way, when I'm doing this, I'm holding down control and clicking on the Pokemon, so it just kind of is a little shortcut to put him in pretty quickly. Just to let you know what I'm doing right there. So as you can see, this HP IV shows up as green, and the special defense IV also shows up as green. So what that means is that it's being directly inherited. So we're getting that 31 HP IV because this Zangoose has that power weight item. So it's directly affecting that HP IV, and same over here. That power band directly affecting that special defense. So it's making that directly inherited. Now, keep in mind that by doing this, it doesn't add on to the number of IVs that are being directly inherited. It's just in replacement, so it replaces the RNG of the 3 that are being directly inherited. So by doing this, there's only going to be 1 more IV that's going to be directly inherited, and then the rest are going to be averaged. So the last 3 will still be averaged. So keep that in mind. So we can do that, and that would produce this offspring. It's going to be 0 attack, 0 speed, no matter what. And then you can also see that the moves are being directly inherited. This is because these moves are level up moves for Zangoose. So when both parents have level up moves for the offspring, it'll be directly inherited. But it'll be directly inherited for the offspring. And then as far as TM, HM, and tutor moves go, if one parent has those moves and the offspring can learn those moves, it will have those moves as egg moves. And then also egg moves. So like if you're crossbreeding species according to egg groups, and if you don't know what egg groups are, I would just Google search Pokemon egg groups, and you can see all the egg groups. So any Pokemon that are in those egg groups can breed with other Pokemon in egg groups that they share. So if you're doing that, they get like moves like aromatherapy on a Chansey or something like that. Those egg moves are also directly inherited, and you would see that in this screen. And then you can also see my original trainer, the OT, is Gillen. That's green because if you breed Pokemon that both parents aren't the main parent isn't your OT, the offspring is going to end up, and the main parent being the parent that's determining the species of the offspring, which is usually the female. If you're doing Ditto breeding, it's going to be the non-Ditto Pokemon. So if that parent isn't your OT, this will end up with, it'll say Gillen and then with an asterisk right there. And to other people, that'll show up as unknown trainer. So some people find that unappealing. And really, it's really just for the caught OT of your Pokedex. I know my Pokedex is really lame. This is on the public test server, so I haven't gotten all the Pokemon. So just keep that in mind if you care about the original trainer thing. Make sure that your main parent is your OT. So we can do that, and IVs would be like that, the moves would be like that, the trainer would be like that. But you can see that the nature is still question mark, question mark, question mark. So we can actually affect the nature of the offspring, and I'll go ahead and show you by using an Everstone. So by using an Everstone, what Pokemon has the better nature here? We got Relax, we got Gentle. So these are both terrible for Zangoose, but we'll go ahead and just show it for Relax. So we'll give the Everstone there, especially since this one doesn't really have any IVs that we actually want to be directly inheriting anyways. So we'll throw an Everstone on there, and we'll see what happens. So we get back to the main screen, and let's do this. And you can see that now Relaxed is there, because we have an Everstone on this Pokemon that has Relaxed. And if you're used to this from the handheld games, you might be thinking that only the mother or the female parent is the one that determines whether or not you can actually use an Everstone for it. The gender of the parents don't matter for things like nature inheritance or move inheritance. Both the father and the mother can use an Everstone and have this effect. So keep that in mind. It's a little different than the handheld games in that aspect. So those are the main functionalities of breeding, and let me just make sure that I didn't skip over anything. Looks like I think I covered it all. The last thing would be shiny breeding. So there is shiny breeding in PokeMMO, so don't be fooled by anyone who says otherwise. You can shiny breed only if both parents are shiny, in which case the offspring will always be shiny. If you throw 2 normal Pokemon in, like these 2 Zangies, then the offspring will just have a normal chance of being shiny, which for PokeMMO is, in my estimate, about 1 in 20,000 or something like that. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to go for shiny Pokemon. But other than that, that should be the basics of breeding. Just for things like egg groups, egg moves, IVs, and stuff like that. I'll Google search those and read up on those. That'll give you a lot more understanding of why you should be breeding. And then I really suggest that once you understand that, to take a look at the perfect Pokemon or perfect breeding guide that I'm gonna throw out here soon. And that should give you an even better understanding of how you should be breeding in PokeMMO. And then I'm also going to throw out a hidden power breeding guide and a budget breeding guide. So keep a lookout for those. They should teach you a lot, hopefully, if I'm good at teaching, which I think I am. But other than that, I hope this helped you out and you now have a basic understanding of how to breed in PokeMMO. Anyways, have a good day, and hopefully I'll see you in game. Bye.